Yo, what's up, everybody? It is that time. It is week 1 of the NFL, Thursday Night Football. We are going to get this party started right. You got me, the Godfrey, THWEGODFREY, to my left. If I get the direction wrong, forgive me. I'm rusty. Kyle Edwards up in the corner, the Prince of Production.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? We're finally here.
Finally.
Starts. Yes.
Can't wait for the Eagles to drop the leg on your Patriots, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Yeah.
TB12, we got Brett in the upper right corner. Tell him who you are, Brett. Tell him where to find you.
What's going on, guys? You can find me on Spotify at Gardy3. Gardy3 also has its own Facebook page. Otherwise, catch me on the Empire and morning shows and Line in the Sand.
Nice. You know, it's we have breaking news here. If you haven't heard it in the last half an hour, if you have Travis Kelce in your fantasy lineups, take him out. So he will not be playing. You could maybe substitute Noah Gray, some other backup if you have him in a flex, you know. So we're going to talk about that because it's the first game on tap. Don't be fooled. Kadarius Toney over Sky Moore. We'll jump right into that real quick as we kind of plate things here, fellas. That's a debate right now, right? I know we've heard it all off season. Sky Moore is taking first-team reps with the Chiefs. But he's also the guy who has trouble fielding punts, things of that nature. And Kadarius Toney, in my estimation, is the more talented of the two as far as ability. If you have to pick one of the two, to put in your fantasy lineup tonight, Sky Moore or Kadarius Toney, go. Tell me which one it is.
That's a good one because I know a lot of Chiefs fans are high on Sky Moore, but it kind of seems like they want to force feed Kadarius Toney. I'd probably go Toney because I've heard you could see him in the backfield a little bit. I feel like he's probably the receiver that Mahomes, with Kelce not there, he might look to Toney. So I'd probably go Kadarius Toney.
I agree. I think Toney's the answer here. I just think he's more versatile than Sky Moore. You can line him up in more spots than Sky Moore, so that way you can kind of scheme him open better and just create more opportunities for him. Not to mention, I think Patrick Mahomes just seems to like targeting Kadarius a little more than Sky Moore, so I'm going to go with Toney on that one.
Yeah, I agree with you, but so here's the thing. This is where people are getting me confused. I'm going to give you guys a little fantasy football tip here. Do you want Sky Moore on your roster? Yes. But you have him on there for the eventuality and reality that Kadarius Toney will eventually be on the IR for 1 to 2 weeks, 4 weeks. He's our modern-day Percy Harvin. Some would say that's unfair. I don't think it is. He's eventually going to be hurt until proven otherwise, and that's where Sky Moore will come into play. But talent-wise, on the depth chart, Kadarius Toney's above him. Talent-wise, he's above him, and that's just a fact. Now, tonight, I'm definitely going Kadarius Toney because even if Travis Kelce was in the game, I'm going Kadarius Toney over Sky Moore. Now that he's out, I'm definitely doing that. I could be wrong, but I'm with you guys. It's across the board. You got to go Kadarius Toney. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. It's just kind of wild to me. And everybody, plating this game, getting into it right away, because, that is what's on everybody's mind. I mean, we're talking 8:15. Everybody's looking at their fantasy lineups, and they're listening to Sideline right now. We got that Thursday Night Football Classic. When the schedule came out, were you guys excited? You're like, yes, that is the game I wanted to see. I wanted to see Lions, Chiefs open up the season. Is that what you would have picked? Was that have been your first choice?
I mean, probably not, but at the same time, I feel like it's going to be a really fun game. I mean, the Lions, they play like all last year. They're going to fight till the very end. And I think they're going to give the Chiefs a run for their money. So it's not the first game I would have picked, but I do think it will be one of the better games this week.
For sure. I think it'll be one of the better games. The Travis Kelce injury, he is definitely one that is going to be out. Okay. Hyperextended the knee, bone bruise. it was always going to be an out for me because it's a short week. So they're looking at it like, hey, let's play it cautious, bring it back to next week. And it's not a long term injury, thankfully, because that would have sent shivers down the fantasy world, fantasy football world, and football world in general, but definitely the fantasy football world. I mean, it made my butt cheeks a little tight. That's all I'm going to say. So I think that's been resolved. So get him out of there. But we'll get into the game. How much of a difference does it make in the game? I mean, right now, these Chiefs are favored by 4.5, unless it's changed. The total's 53.5. Right? Lions were 8-2 outright, and 9-1, to the end of the season last year. They were also second in the league in overs last year. So I don't know, man. What do you guys think? 4.5 points they're favored by without Kelsey.
FanDuel has it at 3.5 now.
Oh, okay. Look at you point shopping over there. Kyle out there getting a bargain on the points. Yeah, 3.5. I mean, now is everybody aware of Patrick Mahomes? 18 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, opening game win streak. Are we aware of this? How well he does?
Yeah.
Does that factor in? Is that an erroneous stat that is just compiled year after year, or does that carry over year over year?
I mean, look, I think it does mean a little something because, I feel like Mahomes wants to improve something tonight because all the talk is, oh, Chris Jones is holding out, so the defense is going to be this. No Travis Kelsey. Who's he going to throw to? I think Mahomes is going to want to come out, put up, 350, whatever yardage is needed. But I think he wants to show that, yeah, Kelsey is his number one target, but he can still make it happen with Tony Moore and those, was it Justin Ross or whatever, those guys. So I mean, I don't think he cares about the 18-0. I think he's 5-0 as well opening night. I don't think it matters to him, but to those of us who analyze it, it means something. I think the Chiefs will still be fine tonight, but I do want to see who he ends up targeting when there's a tough third down, because usually that was Kelsey. I just want to know who's going to look to tonight. That's going to be the interesting part for me. I still think the Chiefs get it done. Although it is interesting that the line keeps
I saw that
lower by lower. So
we're trying to draw you in with that little jerk off half point too.
Yeah,
minus 3.5. Thanks. I mean, what say you? Am I gonna call you by a government name, Brett, or am I going by Guardy 3?
Up to you, man. I can go either or.
Call you Brett Guardy, but we'll go Guardy 3. What's up? What say you as far as this minus 3.5 now? Total 53.5.
I'll say I think it will only be like a 3-point game in all reality. I think the Chiefs still pull it out. I think Mahomes is going to throw a couple of picks tonight to keep this game close. I think he's going to want to come out. He's going to want to make a statement that no matter if I have Kelsey or whoever, I can still get the job done. Except the issue is you have a bunch of receivers who I don't really have an idea. I don't think they can get open consistently as much as someone not like Kelsey, but even someone from last year like Juju or anybody. So I think he's going to have to throw into tight coverage. I think it's going to result in some more picks. So I think it's going to be a 3-point game.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think there's some mitigating factors in here. First off, week 1 is one of the hardest weeks to predict in the NFL. I mean, if you go and look at week 1 year over year, as far as football goes, and what people said was going to happen, not going to happen, and what people said would happen forward after that week 1, guess what? Well, we all would look like fools if we were held to that record. So I don't care who you are. You could be Chris Berman. You could be, all the greats. You could be one Adam Schefter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But as far as this game goes, for me personally, one of the X factors here is the Chris Jones contract situation. Now, if you really look at it, he's a real integral part of their defense. I don't know if the defensive line could really get pushed without this guy, to be honest. Their secondary is not that good. the defense is, not that good overall without Chris Jones. He is huge. There's no Frank Clark anymore, if I'm not mistaken, right? He is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Me if I'm wrong there, Kyle, but he is gone.
Yep.
Um, your secondary is not lighting the world on fire. I mean, it's not like they ripped through the, they shut down Joe Burrow in the playoffs, all right, but not exactly in the Super Bowl. They weren't a defensive juggernaut. Now you got the Detroit Lions coming in, and they're going to be the challenger. They're the darlings. And even with all of that, I do think it's a close game. I don't really want to touch it. If I had to touch this game in a betting way, I would go with the over or the under. I think I'm looking at a high scoring game here. I just think that they could pass on them. They got a good offensive line on the Detroit side of the ball, so they're going to stay competitive. I don't see a lot of turnovers happening from Patrick Mahomes because injury quarterbacks don't tend to do that. They can try to run the ball, but the weaker part of that defense, really is, on paper last year and it's improved is really, or it hasn't improved, is really the pass defense for the Lions. So, Mahomes is one of those quarterbacks that can make people's level rise. Andy Reid has a penchant for having his backups ready, and he's one of those coaches that do so. It's a really hard game to pick, but I'm probably gonna say it's gonna be the Chiefs, but it's gonna be on the other side of the 3.5. It's gonna be a 3-point game. Harrison Butker maybe wins it in overtime with a kick. We get a thriller. This Chris Jones thing, I really, they also lost to Orlando Brown. I really think people just glaze over these losses because they have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and I just think it's something that is just not really being paid attention to as far as a chink in their armor. I mean, guys, am I right? Isn't there a ripple effect on that defense with a guy like Chris Jones not being there?
Oh, absolutely. He really was like the biggest part about stopping the run, and he was the most consistent pressure guy, allowing other guys to get one-on-one matchups. So it just completely changes the dynamic of that entire defensive line.
Yeah, he's definitely the bigger loss between he and Kelsey. Like, Kelsey's important, but don't forget how good Chris Jones is and how dominant he is up front. Because like you said, Godfrey, the secondary is not that great. Usually if your secondary is kind of questionable, a good pass rush can make them look better because it's less they have to do in coverage. They don't have to do it as long. So if Detroit's offensive line gives Goff time when he gets into those play action moments, because we know they're going to try to run the ball and establish that. But if he can get into play action and survey down the field, they can make some headway tonight against that defense. And that's why I do agree. I think it turns into a higher scoring game because of that. Because if Jones was there, then maybe, he might get pressure on Goff, maybe force a turnover or something. But I think Goff will probably have a clean pocket and be comfortable back there. And we saw last year that, when given the right system and everything around him, Goff can put up some numbers. And I think that could happen tonight.
Peyton Manning was on the Pat McAfee show today.
Mm-hmm.
And he had an interesting take on Jared Goff and what he's capable of. Not everybody, Jared Goff isn't sexy, but I would put him in, I don't know, top 15 quarterback, top 14. And, and he said one of the hardest things as a quarterback to go is underrated is switching offensive coordinators. Now he has a second year in the same system as far as offensive coordinator goes. You got a good offensive line, and he was saying, he expects more from Jared Goff this year because of having that familiarity with the system. I would have countered Peyton and said, well, what about his LA days? But hey, there's something to be said there. That offensive line is not a pushover. So are they going to run? Are we going to see a lot of David Montgomery? People forget they did sign him. Mm-hmm. Is Jahmyr Gibbs going to actually live up to the hype? I tend to think he's overhyped. I don't know, man. I don't know about you guys in the fantasy football world, but I see Jahmyr Gibbs getting drafted way earlier than that should be. But that's just me. Maybe I have some Jahmyr Gibbs fans out here in the chat. But yeah, guys, I mean, I'm stoked about this game. We got a lot of games coming up this week. We're going to hit on some of these key games. We're going to talk more about what's going on around the NFL. Contract situations being resolved. We're going to talk about some favorite bets. We're going to talk about Cooper Cup injury. Does it make you scared if you're a fantasy football owner that has him on the team? Did you avoid him like the plague? I did. There's a lot of storylines this week. We're going to talk about the Niners, Steelers, give you some bold predictions. So, shall we, gentlemen? Do you want to talk about the Cooper Cup injury and the Rams that are the dumpster fire of the AFC? What? Yeah.
Yeah.
I look at the Rams and I look at the Cardinals and I look at like two homeless guys warming their hands over a dumpster fire. That's what I think that those organizations represent right now in the AFC West. So, I don't know, man. Listen, they got their Super Bowl, but this is what happens when you sell out your picks. All right, and there's no depth. Cooper Cup, he's getting second opinions. It's never good when you're getting a second opinion. It's almost like you're trying to overrule the first medical decision. And I just feel like if you're a fantasy owner, you should be nervous and very nervous. I didn't touch him. But as a Rams fan, you should be very nervous because, you're looking at Van Jefferson being the number one, Puka Nuka being the number 3, Tutu Atwell, who should never be a top 4 receiver on anybody's team. Some people might disagree with me there. Cam Akers, he's resurgent. I don't know if that's hyped up. Matthew Stafford's back. I don't know, man. Like, what's this Cooper Cup injury say about this team? What does it say about him? Where do you guys think it's going?
For a team that's kind of lacking weapons offensively, it's kind of big to have Cup on the sideline. Now, like you said, Van Jefferson's going to have to step up. Can he do that? Tyler Higbee, to talk fantasy, Higbee's kind of screwed me over a couple of years. Well, I thought he might be a little better than he actually is. That's going to be even more evident this year. They're going to need him to step up. Cam Akers will have to stay healthy. He's got to be productive in the running game. There's a lot working against the Rams this year. And I keep saying that the whole McVay leaving, then last second coming back, I don't know how confident I should be in his commitment to really make this work if he was already ready to leave, a couple of years. Well, last year, I guess. Plus, you talk about the Cardinals. At least if the Cardinals really suck, they have a top pick waiting for them. The Rams don't have first-round picks until I don't even know when.
Oh, man.
So how do they turn this around? Like, the Rams situation is terrible. Look, I get it. They sold out to win the Super Bowl. Cool. But now it's like, where are we supposed to go from here? Stafford could be a hit away from calling it a career. I never like seeing my quarterback with neck fusion or whatever fusion surgery he had. Because I just think about Manning when he had his little procedure, and all of a sudden the football was wobbling even a little more, and to the point where he couldn't even throw at the end. So it's definitely worrisome. You got Aaron Donald, who flirts with retirement every year. How badly does this team want to win?
Yeah, it's bad. What say you, Brett, Mr. Gardy?
I say I feel bad for Rams and Cardinals fans because twice a year they're going to have to watch each other play each other. That's going to be some brutal football to watch. But the loss of Cooper Cup is just absolutely brutal because I don't think Van Jefferson's a number 1. So everybody's going to have to work that much harder to get open because I don't think Jefferson's going to be commanding those double teams and extra attention like Cup does. I just think overall you're just looking at a long season for the Rams and it's going to be brutal. And without a top pick, I think their only choice is going to be they're going to have to start trading these guys away. I think you look at trading Higbee, Akers. Shoot, what's the value for Aaron Donald before he retires on you? Like, I just feel like that's the only option with the Rams. You got to start trading away these veteran pieces, get some picks back, because it's not like you're some up ascending team. You're on the down at this point, and you just need more picks to try to rebuild the youth on this roster.
Yeah, I look at Rams fans as an invasive species that shouldn't exist in a certain country. Like a bug that gets through customs or an animal like the iguana in Florida. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know who's the Rams fans, and I see one every now and then, and I'm like, their feelings aren't hurt. Maybe are there original Rams fans from LA and they've been back and forth with them? Sure, I'm pretty sure there are, right? But they sold out for their Super Bowl, and I still, people were on me. I said the trade wasn't worth it. They won the Super Bowl, so I guess that's vindicated. But at the end of the day, that was one of the luckiest Super Bowl wins I've ever, or runs I've ever seen. A guy led the league in interceptions, took him there. I mean, you want to talk about winning by the seat of your pants. The 49ers should have beat him in that NFC Championship game. I was blown away how they blew it. Uh, what were they thinking in the Buccaneers game? I just like, and then, you know, I'm talking like, I believe Jamar Chase tripped on where he had Ramsey completely burnt and toward that end of the game. So listen, I mean, they won it, but this is the price you have to pay, and this is why you were hearing about Sean McVay saying, "Hey, I want to get out of town because he doesn't like what his own medicine tastes like, so he wants to be out." I'm surprised he came back. He knows what's coming. He knows exactly what's coming. So I don't know. We'll see. Unless something happens, man. If they win more than 9 games, Sean McVay should get Coach of the Year. Like even if he has Cooper Cup back, I just I don't know. We'll see. 10 games. NFC is not tough, but they're a bad team. So that is they're a sinking ship. They're held together by Scotch tape. Lots of Scotch tape. So yeah. Any other key injuries? Oh, we got the Nick Bosa contract, right? So he got a 5-year, $170 million worth of guys. I'm pretty sure we're gonna all say yeah on that one, right?
Yeah.
I think it is, and I think, but with the price that edge rushers are now going for, I think teams are going to have to start to question how much can you pay for a top tier edge rusher, quarterback, and still remain competitive? Because now the wide receiver market's too only going up. I'm sure Jefferson's going to reset it, probably going to get over 30 mil a year. So I think he is worth it. Don't get me wrong, but I think teams are going to have to really start questioning how many guys can we pay 30 million a year and still remain competitive and fill out the rest of the roster.
Yeah. It's
That's a good point. Running backs are going through that now. Our defensive pass rushers, are they going to be the next one to start wondering how come we're not getting paid anymore? And with Chris Jones too, he wanted Aaron Donald money before, but if now Bosa's the number one guy, does that change his demands? Were the Chiefs waiting to see how much Bosa was going to get before maybe re-engaging with Chris Jones? I think that makes the Chris Jones part of it interesting as well. And Burns in Carolina, he's also looking for a new deal.
Yeah. I don't know if Burns gets anything.
Yeah, I don't think Burns gets that much, but Chris Jones,
I mean,
we'll see.
I do see something like that being. I mean, they tend to pay these guys money. Chris Jones, I think it's just listen. They're paying him $20 million this year. Should he get more money? Sure. I don't know, man. We'll see. I think if they do somehow get off to a bad start, they might crumble and say, "Hey, let's bring him in. Let's see what we can work out with this guy." Yeah. But George Karlaftis. I mean, is that your who on that defensive line? Like, I don't know, man. We're gonna see. Like the Lions. Like, listen, Kelsey's out. There's no Chris Jones. If you want to say, "Hey, we have arrived. We are a contender," this is as a team where you have to put your foot on the neck and do what you're supposed to do. If you still can't do it with those factors in there, you might not have arrived yet. You still might be mediocre. You still might be just a 500 team. We'll see. But Bosa, he got that money. I knew he was going to get paid. Everybody did. It was looking close for a second there, but I mean, I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy. So we'll start rattling off these games. We'll see if Bengals Browns want to dive into that first.
Yeah, let's go.
Minus 2.5. The total's 48.5. Let's see these updated totals here. Like they're always changing on air. No, minus 1.5 Bengals, and the total is 47.5. So it's always changing. This document that I'm looking at for the show was made a couple hours ago. That's how quickly to get the line could change sometimes. Bengals are favored 1.5. Let's start with you first, Kyle. What do you think of this game? Who do you got? What some key takeaways here?
So when I looked at the opening week schedule, this definitely was a game that caught my eye because I'm a big Joe Burrow, Chase, Higgins, Boyd, love what they have. but I'm also a big believer that Deshaun Watson really starts looking like Houston Texans Watson now. And if we get that for week one to get Burrow versus Watson, like sign me up. I do think it's interesting with the line only being 1.5 that obviously Vegas kind of is thinking that or is trying to get the money to, flow in for Cleveland a little bit here. I mean, look, the AFC North's going to be brutal. I don't see really any team sweeping any other team. It'll probably just come down to whoever has home field advantage in that matchup might win it. But also the tough part is with it being week one, a lot of teams don't look polished necessarily opening week. So it's going to be hard to figure out who's going to look better. The Bengals did lose Jesse Bates in the secondary, which I think is potentially a big shoe to fill. And the Browns have some offensive weapons with Nick Chubb and, the wide receiver group, Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper, Peoples-Jones. I mean, it's not like a sexy wide receiver group, but I think if Watson elevates his play, then those guys will definitely look much better. I'd probably go Bengals only because, like I said, I'm high on the Bengals a little bit more than the Browns, but I think the line being that close makes a lot of sense. It's just going to be, can Watson from the jump kind of turn it up another level, or does he slowly kind of get there? But yeah, I got the Bengals in a close one. I agree with that. But it's probably the best game
They
of the
split their
weekend.
season series last year. They
I figure all those teams are going to split. I can't see who isn't good enough to get a game against the other. I mean, even the Steelers, who a lot of people might say might be the worst of the division, they're not going to get swept by anybody because they're going to play everybody tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Bengals win. I think the Bengals win this one. I think it'll be a lot closer than a lot of people think. I think the Browns have a lot of just components to make it a little tougher on the Bengals. They have Nick Chubb. They can control the clock. They have Denzel Ward to throw on Jamar Chase, which obviously isn't a guaranteed success, but at the same time, that's a lot better option than most teams have. Not to mention, we have Joe Burrow dealing with a calf injury. How mobile will he be? Myles Garrett could tee off on him tonight. So I do think that the Bengals still win by a touchdown, but I think there's a lot of factors going into this one that it is only going to be a one-score game or less, but I got Bengals.
So, a couple interesting facts here provided by Tim. Tim dealing with a family situation, not be able to be able this week. Hope, thoughts and prayers out to his family. And the Browns, like I said, they split last year. They were 3-3 when Deshaun Watson was starting and went under about 5 times. Burrow was going to play. He's a full participant. As you said, Watson, is he going to be like the Watson of 19 or look closer to Watson of 2022? I think Elijah Moore was a sneaky good pickup.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go with the Browns here. I'm going to tell you why. They lost a lot of secondary in Cincinnati. You got Sam Hubbard. You got Trey Hendrickson. You can play the run. Nick Chubb's still going to get his yards. It's a good offensive line. Might not have like a 180-yard day. Still think he gets his 100. Deshaun Watson's got Amari Cooper, who's flying under the radar, is a very capable receiver. Had one of his best seasons last year, even with Deshaun Watson not being in full self. That secondary, they're relying on 2 rookies in Cincinnati. It is very thin. You can pass on Cincinnati. Absolutely. And I think, it's not that weather yet in the Ohio area where it's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's not November. I can see Deshaun Watson coming out and beating them. And it's the spread's close because really, in all reality, it's a pick'em game in my opinion. If you're going to bet this game, might as well, and it's the Browns, you might as well take the plus 104. Or take the plus points and plus 1.5. I think maybe Burrow isn't as mobile. I could see it going either way, but they got some problems in the secondary as well, and Cleveland as well. So you look at this game, maybe you're going over, maybe it's a shootout. You got a quarterback duel. So I don't know. I'm going to go with the Browns here. I'm going to take the points. I'm going to go with the other thing of note here when I'm looking at it is the Browns are a home dog. I'm going with the home dog. Give me plus 1.5. Cleveland Browns. Lock it in. So, any other things to kind of? Anybody got any other thoughts on that game? We have thoroughly digested it, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Jury is adjourned on that. So, we're the next game. We were kind of alluding to it earlier. Niners Steelers. Gene has very strong opinions on this game. He's busy right now. He is in Disneyland riding the teacups. So, Gene, I hope you're having fun out there riding the teacups and the Dumbo ride Universal Studio. But, he can't be with us this week. I'm pretty sure he's listening. Got to get a little shot in there. But he's been bullish on this game, and I tend to agree with him. So, I'll let you, Brett. Brett, why don't you give us your thoughts on this game? We'll let you go first on this. We're gonna keep switching it up here. I don't want to be hogging up all this mic. I gotta drink some of my liquid death. Throw me a sponsor, guys. But Brett, jump in on this. So, what do you think, Niners Steelers? What do you got? Tell us what you got on this game?
I think the Steelers win, and I think they win it by 2 scores. I don't think this game is going to be all that close. I think you're running into a situation where I've been very vocal about my opinions on the 49ers this year. I don't think their offense is going to be very good. I think you're looking at a situation where Brock Purdy's coming off a torn UCL. He couldn't really push the ball down the field last year, so now he's going to come off an injury to his throwing arm and push the ball downfield. It's going to be a lot of short dink and dunk passes and hope their playmakers can make something happen. And I think that they have the playmakers to really make this work, but this Steelers defense is tough. So I think that all Pickens has to do to pull this one out, take care of the ball, don't lose the game, make some key plays when you have to, and I think the Steelers win it by 2 touchdowns.
Can I get a witness from the congregation? Listen,
2 touchdowns.
I was roasted on this show last week when I said the Niners will not make the playoffs, and people said I was crazy, but I have my reasons. I just don't make it. And I'm going to tell you why. And I saved it for this show because I knew this conversation would come up. I wish Gene was here so I could tell him and Tim, but unfortunately they can't be. I'm going to tell you why. Everybody likes to cherry pick Pro Football Talk or Pro Football Focus. They love to cherry pick those rankings, except when it goes against what they want. Kyle, let me ask you, take a stab at where the Niners are ranked in offensive line last year. Just take a guess.
3rd? I don't know.
5th, not far off. Where do you think they're ranked this year?
Maybe 3rd?
18.
Oh,
they have them ranked at 18.
Okay.
They lost
Mike.
Mike.
I thought they were overvaluing them because I do know they lost some pieces. Yeah.
Trent Williams is 36. Okay.
I didn't know he was that old.
They got a guy. So that whole offense is really, most offenses, you need a good offensive line, but it's a zone run scheme. And there's a lot of, depth pieces missing there. The 49ers have had some serious swing and misses in the draft, and they had some hits. And they've been able to scapegoat other people for their mistakes. They've gotten so lucky. Just imagine how bad John Lynch would look and Kyle Shanahan if they didn't get lucky with Brock Purdy. There's so many moves that haven't done it. And I agree with Gardy over here that they're going to get hosed by the Steelers. They're going to go in there and, they're going to get their ass beat. I really think that the Steelers are just going to set the tone. And I think the Steelers are resurgent. And I just really think going into Pittsburgh, coming off that injury, and listen, CMC, now all of a sudden he's Cal Ripken. Okay. Let's see this play out. Okay. He's not exactly Iron Man. When everybody starts keying on you as the only part of the offense, listen, is anybody afraid of a downfield throw? I just, the Cowboys should have beat them in the playoffs if Dak didn't cough it up. I just don't see, I haven't seen Brock Purdy yet play well against a good defense. He couldn't survive against the Eagles, and everybody says, oh, that was a freak play. Well, maybe, we could talk about the blocking scheme, and he put up a backup tight end to block Hassan Reddick. So let's blame, freak accident and not have Josh Josh Johnson practiced as actual backup and a decoy. That's really what happened there. But anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. I won't get into that as an Eagles fan. My point is that yes, is Kyle Shanahan a bright offensive mind? Absolutely. Is he a good coach? Yes. But he likes to smell his own supply. And some of the best coaches go through that period in coaching, and I definitely think they're there right now in San Francisco. So I look at this, and then the flip side of the coin is, do you believe in Kenny Pickett? Do you believe in the Steelers? Who do you have more faith in, Brock Purdy or Kenny Pickett? Let me ask you guys.
Kenny Pickett, yeah.
Kenny Pickett.
Gardy? Wow, undefeated here. I'm going Kenny Pickett as well. Undefeated.
But the Niners do have the next Steve Young as a backup, so
Sam Darnold. I wish the NFL would have drug tested Kyle Shanahan after that comment. Like, if I was the owner, I'd be like, "Are you high? No more press conferences. You're done for a week."
Well, my question is, if Darnold's the next Steve Young and can't play, does he think Brock Purdy's the next Joe Montana? Like,
hey, must be.
They've thought so in San Francisco. They thought a rookie quarterback was going to take a team to the Super Bowl for the first time, and not only take a team to the Super Bowl for the first time, go on the road in the NFC Championship game and win.
Mm-hmm.
Shanahan shenanigans, call it shenanigans. Is that what we call it? And as a fantasy football perspective, I am completely out on the 49ers. I think you got to pick CMC as the number one pick, 1, 2, or 3. But like, just because of Kyle Shanahan, I can't do it. I can't. I had to quit them. I can't mess with their running backs. But you look at it, and the Niners won 12 straight to finish last year, right? What did Purdy win, like 7 or 8? Steelers were the team to beat in preseason. Can they carry any momentum in the regular season? I don't know, man. George Kittle, he's limited with some practices, and the Niners are favored by 2.5 on the road. Like, this is a gift. I'm with Gene on this. They're favored in Pittsburgh. That is disrespectful. Disrespectful. I mean, do you guys agree with that spread?
Well, I will say, I think I'm one of the few who might go Niners, but I would say it's going to be a field goal type of game.
Crowd doesn't like that.
I mean, I get it. Like, it's one of those I've gone back and forth on, because the longer we've kind of had to think about it, I definitely see a scenario where the Steelers beat them. I'm just going to hold out that, the Steelers play really close, maybe like a late field goal type of situation. I don't think it's a situation where it's like, oh, the Niners are so much better and all that. And even with your prediction of the Niners not even making the playoffs, I think the Seahawks are going to be right there with them, pushing them all season. So it'll kind of, depend on the rest of the NFC, how well they are. But I think like those two will probably be the division winner and a wild card team. But yeah, I definitely think if Purdy is not who the Niners want us to believe he is, it's the second year, so defenses have tape on him. If he doesn't add anything to his repertoire in his game, I think they struggle. If he's truly healthy from the UCL and we see him push it a little more, then maybe they can kind of survive at least through the regular season. But yeah, the Steelers, I think, will be maybe not really good, but they'll be pretty good this year. Mike Tomlin hasn't finished under 500. Might be a bit of a challenge this year, but they find a way to do it. So I wouldn't be surprised either way who wins this. I would pick the Niners, but it wouldn't shock me if the Steelers beat them. Now, 2 touchdowns, as Gardy said. I don't know if I'd go that far. Like, if that happens, then it's like hit the panic button in San Francisco for sure.
Well, listen, the Steelers they reloaded on offensive line, which was their problem last year.
Yeah.
They reloaded on defense. You got TJ Watt healthy. In Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin's one of the best coaches in the last decade. Let's call it like it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I'm not a Steelers stan or a fan here. Actually, I hate on the Steelers a lot. Their fans annoy me sometimes. I'm sorry, guys, if you're Steeler fans out there. Your fans kind of annoy me sometimes. You're like, oh, 6-pack. We won 6 Super Bowls. Stop. Anyway, Just kind of annoying. So that being said, I still think that they're a better team right now. And that's just the way I'm looking at it. Outside of the spread, 41.5 means a low scoring game. I mean, George Pickens, they're saying he's having a great camp. You hear that all the time. You got Deontay Johnson, Pratt Firemuth. I mean, if they can, it's going to be defense versus defense here. And I really think this is going to be a resurgent year for Najee Harris. He played through a Liz Frank injury all year last year. A lot of people are writing this kid off. It's damning you're doing, you're damned if you don't. I'm never going to fault a guy for playing through an injury like that, which he did behind a bad offensive line. So to me, I got to go Steelers here. I'll take the points. And you know what? Here, let's look at, so they're only plus 112, which I think is kind of weak for a plus 2.5 underdog. So, take the points, do plus 112. I would even be, I wouldn't be afraid to go with the under on this at 41.5, but I'm taking the Steelers and the points on the road. I mean, listen, by default, you should get 3 points for being a home team. So to me, it's almost like, 5 points. It's just wild to me that, I just don't understand. I mean, let me just review this, and I'm going to stop beating this dead horse of the 49ers, and Brock Purdy in his run. He came in against the Dolphins, I believe, is when the first game that he came in, right? Am I mistaken in saying that? You guys correct me if I'm wrong there. All my my Niners fans out there, I know you want to, but you had, man, I hate when it does this. All right, so you had the Dolphins game where he came in. So what week is this? We're looking at this right now. Dolphins, I think that was they won 33-17. All right, I just want to take you through the teams that they played.
Okay.
Buccaneers, they won 35-7, a hapless Buccaneers team. Okay. Seahawks, they beat 21-13 in Seattle. Good win on the road, close game. Commanders, they beat 37-20. Now, point of emphasis here is not if it was a good win, did they play a good defense? Seahawks didn't have a good defense last year. My grandma could have ran the ball on them. Okay. We all saw that, right? Could we all agree that their run defense was Swiss cheese?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this game was a shocking one to me. They needed all the time on the clock to beat the Raiders 37-34. Okay. They beat them. But again, not a good defense. Cardinals, 38-13. They get to the wild card round, 41-23. They beat them 12-19. So the only defense, the two defenses that I see that they played that were good, and you guys stop me if I'm wrong here, please do. The Cowboys and the Eagles. Eagles stomped them. Cowboys almost beat them. Cowboys kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, am I wrong here in reviewing these games? What defense has he performed well against? That's been a good defense, a top 10 defense, if that. The Dolphins, that game was half over. I mean, tell me. Anything?
Well, we know with the Niners, their system is built on Purdy being a game manager. They can't have him. They can't afford him turning the ball over. They want to do, run with CMC, pass to CMC, quick little routes with Ayuk and Samuel. Try to get Debo into open space. Hopefully, he can make a play. Like that's what they're gonna do. That's why I'm like, if defenses now know that about him this year and they really stop that, will Brock Purdy have a counter to that? Will Shanahan know what to do in those situations? Yes, he has a great offensive mind, but we also know he's kind of stubborn, and he'll keep trying to force feed because he assumes that his greatness will eventually work out. So with the Niners, it's like if they struggle early on in the season, will he turn to Sam Darnold? Just assuming that, he'll just make it work with Sam Darnold. Then we know kind of what Sam Darnold is, despite the nice little run he had at the end of last season. But I don't know. The Niners are the toughest team to really predict where they're going to finish.
Do the Niners make the playoffs if they're in the AFC?
No.
Yeah, I mean,
not at all.
There's only a couple teams in the NFC you could say would make the playoffs in AFC. Literally, I mean that's the delta's that far. All right, so yeah, I'm going Pittsburgh here. We got some other games on the docket. Is court adjourned on that one? Anybody got to come off the top rope on these guys anymore? Anybody? Because I wanted to. No?
No.
All right. So we got one of the oldest rivalries in the NFL, Packers-Bears in Chicago. I'm excited for this game. I want to see what the Bears look like with Justin Field, with DJ Moore.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of upgrades. Bears are favored by 1.5. Totals 42.5. Now 41.5. So it dropped. Open up with the Bears favored by 1. 425 game. Interesting game. A lot going on here, right? We got Jordan Love, brand new quarterback. Justin Fields, people are wondering if he's going to take that Jalen Hurts type of ascension. Can he pass? Is the question mark out there? Can he put it together? There's a lot of stuff happening. Injuries. Rashawn Gray getting limited practice for the Packers. It looks like Christian Watson, he wasn't a participant today, could actually not play, which isn't good for them. Basically, this is an update 2 hours ago. Watson hamstring remains sidelined for Thursday. Watson's September surprise is now officially a problem, especially consider his injury history. There's little reason to believe he will suit up against the Bears, following back-to-back. Did not participate. He needs a limited session on Friday to have any shot. More likely that he will be ruled out with the Packers release their game status. Romeo Doubs' hamstring did at least return. Folks, I just want to say something here. People are going to think I'm wild with saying this. The best receiver on the roster is Romeo Doubs. It's not Christian Watson. That's my hot take. At the end of the season, you'll see. He is the most consistent receiver on that team. I guarantee it. You're going to see it. It's going to play out. Him and Jordan Love have chemistry, but they're going to need all their weapons to beat this Bears team. I'm kind of interested to see this. I mean, Jordan Love, he's had a good preseason. Has anybody watched any? Have any of you guys got to see any of his preseason?
Yeah,
he's looking poised. Is the word I would use to describe his efforts in the preseason. He's looking like he's not second guessing. He's looking like he's playing short. Now, there's a preseason. Let's see what happens in the regular season. So, there's something to be said for that. But there's a lot of stuff going on here. Year 3, does Justin Fields equal Jalen Hurts year 3? Who'd be the best wide receiver for the Packers season? I already told you that. And listen, if you were smart enough to draft Romeo Doubs in the later rounds, he was basically free in fantasy. Good for you. It's going to pay off. Dylan Cole hasn't practiced for the Bears yet. It's who do we got here, guys? What do you give me your 1-2 on this game? What do you got, Kyle?
I mean, I'm like you. I'm interested to see this one because I was impressed by Jordan Love in the preseason. Maybe there's something to say. They finally pushed Aaron Rodgers out the door. Maybe he's starting to feel a little confident, feeling himself a little bit. Because in his mind, he has to know, like, I can play at this level. I just needed the opportunity. It's right there in front of him now. I'm big on the Bears this year. I mean, I think they are going to really turn some heads. The questions about Fields and his ability to throw the ball, I believe it's an overreaction to last year because the offensive line was so bad that he just kind of had to scramble and run out of necessity. And I think the DJ Moore addition, which moves Claypool and Mooney down the depth chart, I think Fields looks way better this year.
Doesn't Mooney feel like a forgotten name? Like, I feel like everybody's forgotten about him.
Yeah, because everybody just focuses on, Claypool's not that great. But it's like, okay, but now he's not the number one. I'm sure he'll look better. But yeah, nobody talks about Mooney. I mean, Komet, I don't even know if anybody even really talks about him either. And he struggled.
Tunion's on that team still, isn't he? Or did they cut him? I think Robert Tunyon's still on there.
I think he might be.
I think he's still there.
Yeah. But I feel like as long as the offensive line is truly improved, the Bears will win a decent amount of games this year. So I would take the Bears in this one. But I am interested to see Jordan Love play. I liked his preseason.
I got in a heated debate with someone last year about Justin Fields, and you'll appreciate this, Kyle. They were saying that Mac Jones is a better prospect than Justin Fields. I almost threw up in my mouth. And they're not Patriots fans. Full disclosure, they are not Patriots fans. And I was like, how? And the reason why I bring it up to you is because they were trying to tell me that Mac Jones is a better passer of the ball. I'm like, how? I'm not saying he's horrible, but listen, the arm talent is way stronger on Justin Fields than Mac Jones. I mean, it doesn't take, you don't have to be, you know, uh, Adam Schefter or any of these, Todd McShay or whoever
Hmm.
to see that. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just,
Yeah,
I think
I'll say
just think
as a
about
Patriots
dynamic.
fan, I like Justin Fields. When those two were sliding down the board, I was like, if they're both sitting there, I'm hoping Fields is the pick. The Bears were smart to trade ahead of them and take Fields. And to kind of go back to the Niners should have taken him instead of Lance, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh,
Which
it's
I think about that
ridiculous.
like all the time. Like, imagine if Fields was in San Francisco, how dangerous that team would be.
I think about, and this is before Jalen Hurts kind of ascended the way he
Mhm.
did. I thought about why didn't the Eagles take Fields instead of Devontae Smith, and they believed in Hurts, and they were right for it, and they proved me wrong. But yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. Guardy, what's your take on this game? What's your take on this whole Bears, Packers situation? Is Jordan Love? Do you have love for Jordan? Do you have love for Fields? Tell me what you got here. Who's your team, by the way? I'm curious.
He's a
Packers.
Packers.
Ah, I thought you were. I was just curious.
Yeah, so honestly, with this game, I think it'll be an interesting one. I do believe in Justin Fields, and I want to see him succeed. It doesn't matter what team I root for. I'm just a fan of football, and I think Justin Fields is one of the most exciting young prospects in the game. And I do think people overblow like how bad he is at throwing the football, because last year you have a really bad offensive line. Correct me if I'm wrong. Darnell Mooney's hurt the entire year pretty much. You get Claypool, who's hurt, and you essentially traded away a first. I know, the 32nd overall second round pick for him. So,
Throwing touchdowns to the wrong St. Brown brother.
yeah, say your arguable best receiver is like Equanimous St. Brown.
Ugh.
Yeah, that was my thought too. He did beat Jair once. That was brutal to watch, but I I do like Justin Fields. I think the Packers, I think they're going to be a much better team than people are going to give them credit for. I think they're one of the few teams in the league that when they're fully healthy, they can get pressure with four. You got Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary. You just send those four. They're going to get some pressure on the quarterback, so they're going to be a team that can get pressure without blitzing. And I think you're looking at a team that can also control the clock. They got a top 5, top 3 running back duo in the league. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. My concern with the Green Bay Packers is their receivers. It isn't necessarily their top 3. I think Watson, when healthy, that's the key word, he's going to show out. Romeo Doubs and Jordan Love have phenomenal connection. I think that's going to be the duo to look out
My
for.
fantasy sleeper pick of the year. I am invested in Romeo Doubs across the board of all 8 fantasy teams. Every single team I have, including my dynasty team, I have Romeo Doubs.
Oh, fair enough. And I think Jaden Reed could be a good one, too, for the first 80 yards. I think he could. He's a guy that's going to find some space in zones and create some good first downs. The real issue with the Packers is if Christian Watson's already dealing with a hamstring. He can't stay healthy. Dobbs dealt with injury. Go look at the depth chart behind the Packers wide receiver, and you're starting to look at names like Samari Toure. Malik Heath looked good, but that was preseason, and he's undrafted, so who knows what we're getting with that.
Mm-hmm.
So in this game, I really hate saying it, but if I had to bet money, I would probably bet on the Bears, but I think it's going to be a close one. And I think the Packers are going to give a much better fight than a lot of people are going to give them credit for.
How bitter are the Packers, Lions, and Vikings fans going to be if somehow the Packers get blessed with a good quarterback again, and then it's confirmed that God is in fact a Packers fan? Because I heard a Bears fan that's a national broadcast talking about, he's like, it was things you fear the most coming up, and he was like, Jordan Love could be good, man, but if he's a great one, I fear that, man. It's just not right. I mean, it's just, the last okay quarterback you could think of, and some people would debate that with me, is Magic Man Don Mikowski in the Packers. Other than that, everybody's Hall of Fame. I mean, it's like, what the hell?
Well, If Jordan Love is good, I'm excited to be receiving the Jets 2036 first round pick for him in about 13 years. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I have my opinions on that too, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. I got that YouTube TV package. I will be getting every game, and I will turn that on and be a degenerate and probably bet on it. So, um, next game on this docket, we got as you see, we got. I've been waiting for this one. I know Kyle's been waiting for this one too. Eagles, Patriots. TB12 is getting honored this game. Is this correct?
Yes.
Tom Brady, the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you, Robert Saleh, call Aaron Rodgers the GOAT?
Oh God. Mm.
I can't believe how they were. His ass was. They were kissing Rodgers' ass so hard in Hard Knocks. I'm sorry. It's just a lot of ass kissing
I
going
mean,
on.
you knew that's what's gonna happen.
I was
When
like,
they picked
come
the
on.
Jets, it was always gonna be the Aaron Rodgers show, whatever.
Yeah, I know. It just ended. So back to the Eagles Patriots. 4:00 game. You know, it's Eagles are -4. This is in New England,
Mm-hmm.
so they're a -4 road favorite, which is tough. Over unders 45. Yes, Belichick's had all season to prepare off season. So Devontae Parker, Jack Jones, Trent Brown, Mike Onwenu, all limited. Important pieces of the roster. I haven't seen their update. I don't know if you have, Kyle. You know what they're looking like if they're going to play. Kyle's Patriots versus Matt's Eagles, huh? So, I think we've been waiting for this one today. But which Super Bowl was better, 39 or 52?
Oh, 39.
I'm going to go with 52.
Yeah.
Because of course, we're going to pick the wins.
Right.
Although, there was rumors of some secret tapings in 39, but that's all right. The goats, the ghosts have been exonerated after the Nick Foles came in with the Philly special, which Matt Patricia is now a coach on our team. It still haunts me. I don't know why he's on our squad, but whatever. He better not run no damn offense. That's all I got to say.
Might be liking our chances on Sunday even more now.
He's just advising on popcorn. So, I mean,
if he's wearing a headset, he may call a play or two.
Yeah. My biggest concern for the Eagles this year, and this is an Eagles show where you can hear Birds Deep, which actually we'll be having a special episode tomorrow night. We usually have it before the show, 6 p.m. Cole McCain, and we'll have a special guest. Maybe we'll have a ghost too. But biggest concern for the Eagles is health. Jalen Hurts, does he stay healthy? I don't know if he's hurt. That's it. I mean, they're a deep team, man. I hate to sound like a homer, but Jesus, I mean, Jalen Carter, like what a steal that was in a draft. So, the questions. Tim had some questions for me. I'm answering here for you guys. Will the Eagles will not make a deep playoff run because, and health was my biggest concern. They wouldn't make a deep playoff run because if Jalen Hurts is hurt, I don't think they're making the playoffs unless it happens late in the season. If you lose your offensive line, man, if you lose, Lane Johnson, losing him is a hard thing to replace. I know that sounds kind of not sexy, but that would be my biggest concern. You won't make a deep playoff run if you don't have health on the offensive line. So, they had a record-breaking defensive line last year. So, Patriots, patchwork offensive line. For you, and Tim's a Patriots fan. Tell me your biggest concerns for your squad.
No, you just said it. The offensive line, interior offensive line, I'm fine with. It's the tackles. They made a trade for a couple of young guys. Was it Tyrone Wheatley Jr. and the dude out of Minnesota? I can't remember his name, but I feel like between the two of them, if one of them can stick at probably right tackle, they're going to be banking on Trent Brown being motivated and in shape to play left tackle. If that happens, then I'm fine with it. Even with the questions at wide receiver, I think they'll be okay at wide receiver. it's another situation where people are overreacting to last year because yes, Patricia was calling plays and the offense looked terrible. I mean, at least Bill O'Brien knows how to run an offense, so that they should be good there. The running game's gonna have to be important once again. Stevenson and Zeke Elliott. Zeke Elliott's gonna be like the short yardage guy, but they're gonna have to manufacture long clock killing drives, especially against the Eagles, with how dangerous their defense is and the capability of them offensively of hitting big plays. You want to make sure you keep Hurts off the field as much as you can. So the worry for me is, the Eagles up front and being able to get pressure on Mac Jones, and then it just turns into Mac Jones getting hit play after play after play. So I do think the Eagles probably win this game, but I'm banking on the Patriots playing it much tougher than people think. I would still go with the Eagles.
I'm going to go with the Eagles here. I think it's going to be a closer game than people think. I just don't know if they can hold back this Eagles defense. I mean, the pressure up the middle is going to be immense. And the question is Mac Jones the future? Maybe he is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they think he's not. My thoughts on Patricia. It's what's your thoughts on Patricia, Kyle?
If he's your offensive line coach or some part of the defense, I'm fine with him. If he gets another job with anything offense, I don't care what it is. That organization needs to be shot.
Yeah.
So
Here in Philly, John Ritchie, former fullback for the Eagles and Raiders, is on 94.1 WIP in the morning show. And, he has a job because there's a deep respect for his football acumen around the league, right? But that doesn't mean that this guy could be a coach or lead a room. Maybe not. Maybe he'll get a second chance. So I don't know if he will. I mean, Josh McDaniels did for fuck's sake. Anyway, sorry, it's a family show. But anyway, I'm just, who knows? Everybody seems to get a second chance.
McDaniels is an offensive guy. You know how this league works. If you're an offensive guy, you'll get a shot. Patricia's more defense, so I think he's going to be strictly a coordinator, if that.
If I had to
coach,
pick a team that was going to give Josh McDaniels a second chance, I would be like the Raiders. and of course, it did happen. So, what's your thoughts on this game, Gardy? Who do you think wins, Eagles, Patriots?
I think it's going to be the Eagles. I think they'll win by 10. I think it'll be close, but I think the Eagles will have a nice last-second drive, kick a field goal, put themselves up 10 to ice the game towards the end. I think the Patriots' only chance, and this would be listen, I think the only thing stopping the Eagles would be health, like Godfrey said. I think if I had to pick something on the field, I think the only hope for the rest of the NFL really is hope their run defense regresses, and that would be the Patriots. They got to be able to gash holes and be able to control the clock, bleed the clock, keep Jalen Hurts off the field. You got to keep the offense off the field, and I think that'd be the only chance for the Patriots to win this game. I just don't think the offensive line is going to hold up enough to execute that plan. So I got the Patriot. I mean, I got the Eagles. I think it's going to be close, but I think the Eagles pull away in the end.
Yeah. I think the Eagles are going to pull away. It's a road game. It's a little different. I mean, listen, the first week of football makes liars out of everyone. So who fucking knows? The Eagles go up there and lay an egg, and they're like, yeah, we did it for Brady. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I still think the Eagles take this, personally. I just think Jalen Carter, man, everything I've been hearing about him is he's a beast. Everything I see, he's a beast. If this kid is as good as his advertised, man, that's one of the hardest things to account for is pressure up the middle. Yeah. So, that's that. So, you know what? And it sucks, man, because I'm a Phillies fan and I have a Sunday plan ticket, or you can get a Sunday game ticket plan, and I have to race home from the game because I have to go. It's no one's gonna want these tickets because it's football Sunday, so I'm gonna be watching football in my seat in the baseball stadium. But what the fuck's going on? And I gotta be careful because where I'm at, you can get hit by a foul ball.
Sure.
And I got to race home to clutch this 4:00 game. I might even dip out like 7th, 8th inning. I make 7th inning stretch. I might not come back. Get the hell out of there. And but I got a 6 setup in my car where I can watch live TV right on my radio. So anyway, I'll be good. But next game, I feel like this is kind of like the Lions Thanksgiving and Dallas Thanksgiving game. For some reason, I don't know if maybe my memory is not serving me correct, but it seems like every first Sunday night game is the goddamn Giants and Cowboys. Am I
It
right?
does seem that way. Yeah.
We've gotten that matchup a lot. Maybe it wasn't last year, but I don't. I mean, we'll give predictions. I got my thoughts on the Cowboys. I know you guys say he's Eagles fans. Of course, I'm going to come off the top rope. You're damn right I am. Like we're on Macho Man Randy Savage, but I don't think like the Cowboys are held together by Scotch tape. I mean, in this game, if you look at it, um, you know, they're what are they up by? I'm looking at the score here. The Cowboys are favored by 3.5 in New York. I'm going to say this to you right now. I'm taking the Giants on the money line at plus 154. They're going to beat them out.
I'm with you on that one.
And I'm going to tell you why. Ignore the eagle on my head right now, okay? I know you Cowboys fans out there just like, yeah. I forget the nice gentleman's name was on the show with us the other week. He runs the older gentleman. I don't want to say that, being middle aged. Alpha. What was this? God damn, I can't remember his name. I'm not trying to be disrespectful either. He's a Cowboys fan now. He's on Sports Empire Network. You know what I'm talking about. He runs that show.
Oh, you're talking about
is that Big Time?
Yeah, Big Time. I need you to tune in, Big Time. Your team's held together by Scotch tape and bubble gum. All right. That line is old. Tyron Smith's back is close to being in shambles. Zach Martin's getting old. Tony Pollard's never, ever handled a full workload in the pros. Mm-hmm. He cannot. Okay. Jake Ferguson ain't Dalton Schultz. Dak Prescott ain't the same since the injury. Okay. I picked them to make the playoffs. I want to redo my whole ranking. I think the Commanders are a better team than them at this point. And then people are like, oh, I can't believe you're saying that. But I mean, they got a good D, but let's break this D down. When you get into the secondary, okay, I'm not really scared. I mean, listen, Diggs, he's a ball hawk, but he's been burned a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. I need you to come to Jesus here. Not me being Jesus. Have to come to Jesus, talk about your team, because they ain't it this year. And that's why I'm taking the Giants. Now, the Giants, I don't know how far they jump, right? I think Brian Dable's a good coach. I think they got some other talent in there. But I think they're definitely going to bust their ass in New York on that night. And I'm going with the Giants. Plus 3.5. You want to have some fun? Take the points in case they lose a close one. And then bet on the plus 154. Come on, man. Put your mortgage on it. Don't put your mortgage on. I'm just playing. But listen, that's that game. We got one more game to fit in, too. I forgot about this game. I feel like we have to fit this game in because they are the season. They're the seasoning of the NFL this year. They've been on Hard Knocks. I think Tim was going to throw it in there, but he had a family emergency. I hope all things are going well for him. And I have to guess that he would have put this in here. The Monday night game, right? Mm-hmm. It really doesn't, to me, the real opening, it really feels like the real opening of football for me has always been like Monday night. Even though there's a whole bunch of games for that, I just feel like when Monday Night Football here is like, okay, we're here. But I get it. Tonight's got to feel like that too. We're 5 minutes away. I know you guys are like, shit. When's he going to shut up so we can go? Don't worry. Turn it on. Put us on mute. Whatever. But listen, let's get to this game. This is the last one. Jets are they're 2.5 point underdogs at home. At home. The way people are talking about this, you would think that would be the other way. Do you think the Jets be favored by 2.5? Right? Am I right, guys?
Yeah. I was surprised to see them as an underdog.
Whoo, I don't want to touch that game. I don't want to touch it. I mean, listen, this league is built for offense. I know the Jets have a good defense, okay? I know they do. But it's built for offense, this league. And if you want to tell me, like, well, why do you say that, Matt? Why do you say that, Godfrey? Well, what the fuck did the Jets do in the offseason? They went and got Aaron Rodgers. They sold their soul for him. Because they knew Zach Wilson wasn't going to throw any touchdowns. His mom's hot. I'm sorry. She's out there. Listen. Is that? But Zach might be good later on, but he wasn't going to be able to do it. And they knew their jobs were on the line. If they didn't make a move at quarterback, Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh were goners. They were not going to be here another year. If they don't succeed this year with them. So I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. Am I crazy, guys? Give me your thoughts on this game. Tell me what you think. I mean, like, what's going on here? I know, we're gonna be I know, Gardy, you're gonna be. You got some feelings here about this game, but just tell me what you got.
I got the Jets. I like the Jets in this one. Listen, I think the Bills are going to run into some issues right off the bat. I think you're looking at an offense that it's lost pieces. You added Kincaid. Diggs wants all the touches except he's got Sauce Gardner this week. I think Sauce is going to play him tough. He's going to frustrate Diggs. He's going to get into his head. He's going to force Gabe Davis to beat him and whoever's third on their depth chart. Because I know last year was Isaiah McKenzie, but he's gone. So I think you're going to look into an issue where the Bills are going to refuse to run the ball like every year.
Yeah.
They're going to sit there and try to force feed against the pass or force feed the pass. They're going to try to force feed Diggs. I think Sauce plays him really tough. And the pass rush is going to really just give him hell. So I think the defense is just going to overwhelmingly dominate the Bills' offense. And at that point, I think Aaron Rodgers, all they really have to do is just not turn the ball over. If there's one thing Aaron Rodgers is good at, not turning the ball over and making timely plays. And I think that plays out here too. You have Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall's coming back from an injury. We'll see how he looks. It's an Achilles injury. That's normally really hard on running backs. Mm-hmm. But you have enough there that you can bleed out the clock. You can slow down Von Miller in the pass rush. And it also opens up play action for like Garrett Wilson. Alan Lazard is a very good number 2. And he's also one of the best run blocking tight ends in the league. I'm really liking the Jets here. And if I had to put money on this game, I would take the Jets. And I think they're going to win by 13.
Damn, 13?
Brett's coming in with the big spread. I mean, I have the Jets winning as well. I can agree with you, Gardy, that the Bills are going to struggle. They'll probably run a lot of 2 tight end sets with Kincaid and Knox. You have Diggs, Gabe Davis, and then what else you got? Like you said, also, they're not going to turn around and hand the ball off to James Cook or Damian Harris like 20, 30 times. They're not built that way. So the biggest factor is going to be, who would you trust more? Aaron Rodgers against the Bills defense or Josh Allen against the Jets defense? I know the Jets have issues up front, but I would still say Aaron Rodgers probably has the better time. I just hope Josh Allen doesn't get to a point where he starts throwing those random jump balls he likes to do, because those are going to turn to turnovers against the Jets, and you don't want to give them short field. So if Josh Allen can play within himself, maybe they have a chance at this one, but I would take the Jets in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they've been talking a lot of tough guy talk. All right. A lot of tough guy talk, the Jets. Mm-hmm. I feel like they're in a must-win situation already in week 1. Like, I mean, if they open up at home on football, just take a New York. If they open up with a home loss against the Bills on Monday night, they're going to be setting the streets on fire in New York. If the sports reporters, well, at least Mad Mike's going to be having an aneurysm. Like, it's going to be nuts in New York. So I just think, I with the kind of tact they're taking, they got to cash in. I mean, I'm going to take the Jets at plus 2.5. I think they have a shot to win. I think it's a statement game. I think the Bills are vulnerable. And if you ask me if I was going to bet this game, I probably would stay away from it. But I'll go with the Jets here. And I've always liked Robert Saleh as a coach. Now it's time for him to cash it in. He's got the GOAT. He said, if you got the GOAT, you got to get the wins.
Yep.
That's pretty much all we got for you folks. Well, any favorite bet for the week or a bold prediction from either of you guys?
I got a bold prediction, and this is just in the spirit of week 1 being the most random week in football. And that's what I love about it. Guys, I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this year. I think they're going to be the worst team this year. I'm predicting one of their wins that's going to come week 1. They're going to upset the Commanders this week.
Wow. That's pretty bold. Yeah, that's pretty bold. I'll piggyback off that and tell you that if you're looking to stream a defense, okay, I'm going to give you guys a fantasy prediction. Stream the Commanders with confidence. Maybe if they win, they win 3-0, and they beat the Commanders don't score. But will sleep well at night plugging in the Commanders defense against Joshua Stinking Dobbs. What do you got, Kyle?
I guess my bold prediction. I'll take the Texans plus 10 against the Ravens. I think they cover that. I know everybody's loving Lamar Jackson and the new offense and everything. I got a feeling D'Amico Ryans will have that defense with a plan to at least slow them down a little. Whether or not CJ Stroud does enough offensively, but I have a feeling that defense will frustrate Lamar. It's just week 1, so why not?
I'm excited to see that new Ravens offense. My question is, they want to go to a more pass-heavy offense with Lamar. Can Lamar's arm handle the toll of being a more pass-friendly offense? That's what I'll be interested in.
Yeah. I think that offense. I hope that they also worked on the mechanics of Lamar Jackson as well, because I don't know if the offense matches his skill set. Maybe he's going to show everybody this season, but when an athlete at that level has been successful doing it their way for a while, usually you don't see them make a role reversal. And I just, listen, man, go back to that game, 0-7 Dolphins, Brian Flores defense. They whipped Lamar Jackson. They whipped his behind in that game. So I don't know. We'll see. You could be right, man. It's going to be interesting. I like all these things going on here today, guys. And good show. Good show. Thanks for joining us, Brett. Kyle, as always, any last thoughts, guys, before we sign off?
Mommy, did you give her a bold prediction?
Did I? Oh, I thought I gave like 9, but I mean,
well, I don't know if you had another one saved.
Man, I guess I kind of do. Well, I kind of already talked about the Steelers getting smoked. And my bold prediction, I guess, if we're talking about for the week coming up, I don't know if this is bold or not, but my bold prediction is that Javonte Williams will finish as the number 1 fantasy running back in football this week.
I think that counts. I like that.
He's playing the Raiders. Said he's going to have a full workload. I've been bullish on him. Listen, trust me. If you didn't buy him in the draft and someone's willing to trade him for you, get him. This kid is a beast, and he's finally with a coach that's for real, that knows how to use a running back.
Yep.
I'm going to die on that hill. With that being said, folks, we're going to wrap things up. Football's on. It just started now. I was still able to place a bet while I was talking right there. So go to the TV, watch it, get your snacks, come back next week, sideline to sideline, wire to wire, Sports Empire Network. You know where to find us. Tomorrow, Birds Deep, my Eagles fans, me and Cool McCain will get at it for you. And with that being said, we're signing out. Take it deep.
Good night.